Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashoda Nandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Acharya Ashtotara Shatashmadesi Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Granth Srimad-Bhagavatam ki Jai Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
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 Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Reading from Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 1, Text 1, Sanskrit verse. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadyasya Yatha Anvayaditaratascha Vignan Swarat Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye Muhyanti Yatsurayah Tejo Vari Mridam Yatha Vinimayo Yatra Trisargo Mrisha Dhamna Svena Sada Nirasta Kukham Satyam Param Dhimahi. Translation. O my Lord Sri Krishna, son of Vasudev, all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I meditate upon Lord Sri Krishna because he is the absolute truth and the primeval cause of all causes of the creation, sustenance, and destruction of the manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations, and he is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahma Ji, the original living being. By him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion, as one is bewildered by the illusory representations of water seen in fire or land seen on water. Only because of him do the material universes, temporarily manifested by the reactions of the three modes of nature, appear factual. Although they are unreal, I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Sri Krishna, who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from the illusory representations of the material world. I meditate upon him for he is absolute truth. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyadi Paschyate Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasili Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Chapter 1, Text 1, First Canto. In the opening sentence in this purport, Prabhupada says that Shruti mantras in the Vedas, it is said that the Lord threw a glance over matter and thus created all beings. So there it says, Sa ekshata, he glanced. By his glance, the avyakta, unmanifested material nature, prepared for the creation by manifesting all the ingredients just by his glance. sa ikshata, just because he saw. If he did not do anything, there would be no creation. The all-perfect Lord threw a glance over matter and thus created all living beings. Everything begins with the Supreme Lord. Those who don't have knowledge of Krishna or the Supreme Lord, they say that this material nature works on its own. But according to Bhagavad Gita, we understand that Krishna says, Maya Dyakshena Prakriti, nature is working through me. And not seeing is not an excuse for saying that there is no God. We are not seeing Krishna functioning because he's in the background. He is so expert. So it says the all-perfect personality of Godhead. All-perfect. Supreme Lord is all-perfect. Purusha Purnam. He is not illusion like us. So we have, as conditioned souls, 4 defects. Brahma, Pramad, Karnapad, Vipralipsa. Tendency to commit mistakes, imperfect senses, a cheating propensity, and illusion, thinking that we are the body. Now, because of that, we cannot manifest knowledge. Perfect knowledge cannot come from us because we are illusioned. Supreme Godhead is not illusioned. That's why we take shelter of Him. That's why we are following His instructions and His scriptures. And if we say Supreme Lord can make a mistake, or that some things He says are not correct, or we should not listen, then which is the mistake? We are choosing some part and not accepting some part. But then there is no point then in reading Bhagavad Gita. If we say he's an ordinary man like us, he can make a mistake, then why are we reading Bhagavad Gita? Why are we reading the Vedas? Why are we reading Srimad-Bhagavatam? No, we understand that Supreme is perfect. He's Purna Purushottam. Purusha, we are many Purush in this room, but he's Purna Purushottam, the complete person, complete in all opulences, all strength, all knowledge, all abilities, fully perfect. In Dwarka, when Rukmini was she was serving Krishna, at one time Krishna told her that why did you accept someone like me who has no varna, no position anywhere? I escaped the battle and came here to Dwarka, established a separate kingdom. So why did you marry someone like me? So later Rukmini took all those points that Krishna said and turned it around to show how actually they're all compliments. They are not, it was nothing derogatory. So whatever Krishna said about himself, she made it look like so glorious. So she said one thing, that other women accept men who are not perfect. They all have some dosh. But if someone accepts you, Krishna, as husband, then that's a perfect husband, perfect person. So that was her realization. And because Krishna is perfect, anything he produces is perfect. This material universe is perfect. It came from Krishna. It has expiry date, but inside every universe, because nothing can come in or out, materially speaking, inside every universe is a perfect system for the universe to go on. Nothing will be less, nothing will be more. Sun, water, cold, energy needed for running the universe, management system by the demigods, everything is perfect and it's going on. There's nothing wrong, nothing goes wrong. If we think something went wrong, that is some mess we did some mess. For example, now there's scarcity, less grain or no water or whatever the problem is. That is not because of Krishna, that is because of us. Actual lack of water seems to come up where people take a lot of meat. And if you analyze what we call the water table, this was analyzed by one author who's promoting vegetarianism. So he said, if we analyze the places where animal slaughter takes place, in those same places, You analyze the water table. So the slaughterhouses take a lot of water, and that is leading to depletion of water. Slaughterhouses. Second is factories. Nothing else. This is the problem. So if we don't follow, then things will be scarce. That will be a problem. But we cannot say that Krishna, something is wrong in the nature. The nature is perfect, all ingredients arrangement is perfect, and if we follow the nature, then there will be no problem. We go against the plan of nature, then there will be a problem. So Krishna threw a glance over the material nature pradhan, unmanifested nature. And then what happened? The nature, it became Mahatattva, producing ingredients ready for creation. So the purport says the living beings are parts and parcels of the Lord. He impregnates the vast material creation with the seeds of spiritual sparks. And thus the creative energies are set in motion to enact many wonderful creations. The sparks, they come out from Vishnu's eyes and enter into the material energy to take their bodies. And to take the body's mind, subtle body, gross body, mind, senses, and everything, just by Krishna's glancing. So, this is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Yunishu Kaunteya, Murteya Sambhavantiya, Tasam, Brahma Mahadyonir, Aham Bija Pradapita. Krishna says, I am the seed-giving father of all living entities, and all the birth of these living entities is made possible by the Brahma Mahadyonir, by the Brahma. Brahma means the unmanifested material nature. So that material nature and the spiritual nature, everything makes the jiva perfect, complete. That body, he obtains the body from matter, and Krishna sent the souls into that. So he says, Sarva Yunishu, all living entities are made possible by birth in this material nature, and I am the seed-giving father. Aham bija pradapita. Many times Prabhupada would quote that verse saying that if we say Bhagavad Gita is for one particular country or community, then look at this, Krishna saying, I am the father of all living entities. Sarva yoni shukanteya aham bija pradapita. I am the seed-giving father. If someone produced a child, then he put the seed in the woman, then that is the father of the child, because the seed came from the man. So here it says Krishna produced Sarva Yonishu, all living entities were made possible by him glancing at material nature. The souls entered her and they got their bodies, like in a normal pregnancy. So Krishna is the seed-giving father of all living entities, and therefore Bhagavad Gita, his instruction, is meant for everyone, as it says in that verse. He impregnates the vast material creation with seeds of spiritual sparks and sets in motion to enact so many wonderful creations. So many wonderful creations happen. So an atheist may argue that God is no more expert than a watchmaker, but of course God is greater, because he can create a machine in duplicate male and female forms. So, okay, you can create, Krishna can create, and we say we are creating planes, watches, flat screen TV, we are also creating, but can two flat screen TVs produce another one on its own? No, neither can a fridge. But Krishna has set in motion a system where he created, and the creations are enacting processes to bring other living entities to get their bodies and continue and live according to their karma. So we cannot say the watchmaker and God is on the same level. Due to ignorance, people cannot understand God. They have different ideas about God. When we say that Supreme Personality of Godhead, he has a form like a man, they call it, what is that? There's a word which means that God coming from a man, a human, someone, what is it? Anthropomorphism, zoomorphism, maybe that's the one. Okay. Attributing qualities of a human to God. Do you think that we are guilty of that? that because we are seeing so many men all around, so God is also man, and we attribute these human qualities to him. Due to ignorance, people have very different strange ideas about God. But if we come across scripture like Veda, and in the Vedas, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad-Bhagavatam, no more ignorance, perfect knowledge of God. If we do not get the pure knowledge from God, where will we get it from? From us? From the school teacher? From the government? From the scientist? No one will give the knowledge of God. They have not seen God. God only can give himself. So that whole idea people are having of basing the supreme truth on pratyaksha, my own senses, that can never bring the truth. I'm going to see and accept God if I see him with my own eyes. He should manifest in front of me. Pratyaksha praman, that cannot give God, because he will not come, because even if he comes, you cannot see. We having material senses right now. Spiritual senses are covered. They are covered by Maya. And if we have covered senses, like if I cover my eyes, I cannot see. If I cover my tongue, I cannot taste. If I cover my ears, I cannot hear. Our senses are covered. We cannot perceive reality at all. So, people who are accusing that, oh, we have seen God, we are attributing human traits onto God. Due to ignorance, they'll never find God. To accept God, we must accept senses greater than us. Knowledge, we have to accept that knowledge greater than us. Because Supreme God is greater than us. His nature is not in our experience, materially speaking. So, it requires knowledge. That knowledge, where will it come from? From God. I want to know about God. Knowledge will come from God. It will not come from anywhere else. Of course, if we say God's representative, that's also from God. So knowledge has to come from God, because it is spiritual knowledge, not material. The spiritual knowledge is at the moment, na bhavet grayam indriye. Supreme Lord cannot be seen by material senses. So the Supreme has not only created, but he created a system where the creation is continuing to bring other souls in. He created male and female forms. It's written here. And say, if a man could manufacture such a set of machines that could produce other machines without his attention, then he could approach the intelligence of God. So what is everyone saying now? Machine learning, artificial intelligence. Okay, let's see. Can they produce? You cannot. It's some kind of fantasy, science fiction. Dull matter, this is dull matter. Of course, it's spiritual, it's a kartal. But my point is, some dull matter like this cannot do anything on its own. And you can program a machine and an electric current to react to the environment so that it will do something when the outside light changes or temperature, or some time-based mechanism which looks like the machine is intelligent. But intelligence comes from consciousness, buddhi. If someone has a buddhi, has a chetna, consciousness, then he has buddhi, mana, and indriya. But a machine will never get that. This is some science fiction fantasy that we can do that. You may do something resembling that, but we'll be ready for very serious accidents. Self-driving cars, already crashing like anything. Self-driving cars. And I'm seeing now they have automated surgery by robots. Good luck. It says, if a man could manufacture a set of machines like to produce others, then his intelligence could approach God. But it's not going to happen. He cannot. That is not possible, Prabhupada is saying. Each machine has to be handled individually. Each machine. You need some form of control, even remotely. And then control by who? Some human. And humans make mistakes. So it will not be perfect. The conclusion is no one can create as good as God. Perfect intelligence. No one can create like that. Because everyone has the 4 defects. And these defects make it impossible for us to take knowledge from any man. So any knowledge, if someone is giving me, my first question, where did it come from? This and that author, psychologist, motivational speaker, then that's not knowledge. Knowledge means to know. They don't know because they're illusion. They can make a mistake. They can cheat. Imperfect senses, cheating propensity, and illusioned. So they cannot manifest knowledge. God has many names to describe. In Bhagavad Gita, one is Asama Urdhva, which means no one is equal to or greater than him. Sama means equal. Urdhva means great. Asama Urdhva. Asama Urdhva. No one can be equal to or greater than God. Simple definition. In Prabhupada's book, sometimes he gives very basic definition to explain God, because some people don't have that concept. In some cultures, there is no concept of understanding of God. There is no word even, from especially Far East. They don't have it. So we had to start from basic level. That anybody you find in this world, you will find his equal and someone greater than him. Anybody. President, Prime Minister, scientist, you will find a greater one, and someone equal, someone greater. But if you find somebody in this creation where there is no one equal to or greater, then you will understand that he is God. Asamurdhva. And in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Yomam evam asamurdhva janati puru. Sarvapapa. Yomam evam asamurdha janati purushottama sasarvavit bhajitamam sarva bhavena bharata. Supreme is Asamurdhva. Supreme is Param Satyam. Satya is truth. We have relative truth. Relative truth means that force which is the governing principle, creation and management of this material world. Satyam. For example, in the material world, the greatest personality is Mahadev, Shiva. He is the relative truth. Relative truth. In the sun planet, Surya Bhagavan, he is Ishwar. He is the truth, but not supreme truth. So, Param Satyam, the supreme truth, is one. He is one person. There is no one greater. So, Shruti Mantra said there is only one. Eko Brahma Dvityana Asti. Supreme is one, not two or three or four or any more than that. Supreme is one personality. And how to judge that no one is greater than him. Before the creation existed only the Lord. Before the creation, the master of everyone, he existed. Then from him manifested matter, all the energies, all the creations, and he himself expanded into the living entities. Krishna expands into different living entities, divided in two majorly. One is Vibhinangsha, other is Svangsha. Sva Angsha means the personal expansions of Krishna. Those are Vishnu Tattva. In other words, they are on the level of God. Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Narasimha, Ram, Balaram. They're all expanded from Krishna on the level of God. They are godly, supreme personalities. Then you have Vibhinangsha. Bhinna means separated, different. Vibhinangsha, that they are not on the level of God, not on the level of Krishna. They are Jiva, that is us. We are the Jiva. So these are two different divisions in terms of living entity. We shouldn't confuse thinking I am the Supreme. Yes, we expanded from Krishna. As Krishna says in Gita, Mamaevangsha Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Living entities in this material world are my separated, eternal separated parts. Angsha, Mama Eva Angsha. But we are not Svangsha, we are Vibhinangsha, as the Puranas explain. So, in the beginning was only the Lord, then he manifested the creation, the living entities and the energy. Everything came. And first living being, Lord Brahma, he was instructed in knowledge by Krishna. Then Brahma went on to create. So Brahma is the most perfect living entity in this universe, but he cannot come to the level of Krishna. He is much greater than us, most intelligent being and Brahminical personality. If one follows the dharma of a Brahmin, for 100 births, one can be qualified to become Brahma in that universe in the next life. So Lord Brahma is the most perfected being, but he also is not on the level of God, neither can he become God. He is servant of God like us. In all respects, the Lord has to be obeyed by everyone. In this material creation, the principle is that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer. Bhokta Ram Yagya Tapasam. Any austerity, any benefit that has to be accrued to any activity, the enjoyer should be Krishna. He is the Bhokta Ram, the Lord of all enjoyers. Otherwise, many people are enjoying, but he is the supreme enjoyer. And the material creation is such that he is meant to enjoy, not us. That is the natural order. And one who doesn't follow that, tatvenas tat shravantite, he will fall from his position. Aham hi sarvajnanam bhoktacha prabhur evacha eva. Certainly, sarvajnanam bhoktacha prabhur. I am the master and enjoyer of all sacrifices. But one who doesn't know that, one who doesn't follow that or accept it, then tatvenas chavantite, he falls from his position. He cannot maintain his spiritual position, and materially in varnashram he will not be considered the varna that he is claiming to be. So one has to accept Krishna. So in this material world, the natural order is Krishna is the enjoyer, in material and spiritual world. In the material world, we don't know that Krishna is supreme, but we learn it and then we at least follow the Vedas. If we follow the Veda Narayan Sakshad. Veda is directly Narayan. So, directly, if one follows the Veda, they are following Narayan, and it is all auspicious, everything will be provided. So, Ved Narayan Sakshad. So, in material world also, people are not pure. They left Vaikuntha, so they are not following Krishna. But they came to this material world and they were trained in culture, at least here in India, that they had to follow the Vedas. They had to follow the Veda under any circumstance. Veda is Praman for everything. And so in that way they follow Krishna, and that way they get benefit, even if they don't directly follow Krishna. But the whole point of the Veda is Vedescha sarvair ahame vivedya, is the whole point of the Veda is to gradually bring us to know Krishna. That is the purpose. So Krishna, he, although not present personally in this material world, he's present, but not apparently, he's apparently not present. Still, by reading the Vedas, we can properly know him. We can properly understand God. It's a better way of understanding God than trying to see him. Because Krishna is Shrute Kshita, is understood by hearing, constantly hearing. Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita will enable us to see God. Shinvata Kalena. It says that Shinvanti, that shloka, that constantly hearing about Krishna, the Supreme Lord manifests in the heart. Kalena nati dirghena bhagavan vishato hirdihi. Okay, so that it says in a verse in Bhagavatam, constantly hearing. Shinvanti katayanti chak. Kalena nati dirghena bhagavan vishato hirdi. Not after a long time, just by hearing Bhagavatam constantly, the Supreme Lord manifests in the heart. So, how to know God? Yeah, just by hearing about him constantly. So, Krishna has to be obeyed in all circumstances. In the material world, through Veda. In the spiritual world, everyone there is pure. They will follow him. Okay, then some people protest. Okay, then why did we come to the material world if we are so pure? Free will. We had free will. We decided you can do this or that. So, we chose that. But, yad gatva na nivartante tadhama paramam mama. Once we go back to the spiritual world, we'll not again come to this material world. Krishna says, Yad Gatva, we'll be wiser not to come. We experimented. Okay, so Supreme Lord is obeyed through Shastra and through our Varna and Ashram, and through the following Varnashram, samskars, all the traditions, observing the festivals. And it's different for everyone. Vaishnavas have a particular path, they follow Bhagavad Dharma. Others will follow the Vedas, but not directly following Krishna. But just by following the Vedas, they get purified gradually. They'll come to the platform of wanting to surrender to Krishna and being attracted by Krishna in pure devotional service. So in all respects, one has to obey the Lord. And anyone who wants to come over this suffering and this material world, Vishnum vina mrityum na taranti. We cannot cross over the ocean of material suffering without surrendering to Vishnu. We may realize this now or later in 100 births. Bahunam janmanam ante, after the end of many births. Jnanavan mam prapadyate. But better not to wait so long, especially in Kali Yuga. It's a risk. So better to realize it now that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer and we are meant for serving him. So our life, our activities, fruits of our action, everything should be dedicated to him. This is most auspicious. If we do that, we'll be in harmony with the creation. And if we're in harmony with the creation, then nothing inauspicious will happen to the jiva. All the problems he has, the root cause is one. Lack of Krishna consciousness is the only scarcity and problem in this world. There's no other problem. We are seeing so many apparent problems in society, in the government, or in the school, in the political party, politician. We're seeing so many problems. But the problem is only one. The problem is not surrendering to Krishna, not accepting him as the supreme enjoyer. So if we don't do that, then it will be a problem. We'll suffer no matter whatever material adjustment we make. But simply by pleasing Krishna, that person, that family, that country, society will be perfectly in harmony with itself and with this material creation. And finally they can return back to the kingdom of God. Esha Brahmi Sthiti Partha Naivam Prapya Vimuhyati Stitvasyam Antekale Chapi Brahma Nirvanam Vichati. If we are constantly thinking about Krishna as the supreme enjoyer and how I will serve him, that is called samadhi. It's not so easy because we have so many other desires and we live many births trying to do other activities and trying to enjoy. But if we come to that point of realizing that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer and we are constantly on that level, so that is the Brahma Sthiti, Esha Brahmi Sthiti Partha. Naivyam Prapya Vimuhyati. Once we come to that level, we'll never again be bewildered. Naivam Prapyam Vimuhyati. And at the time of death, we should be on this level. Stitvasyam ante kale chapi Brahma Nirvanam Richati. That one who is on this level, at the time of death, one is in this consciousness, constantly thinking how to serve Krishna. Then Brahma Nirvanam Richati. He can enter into the kingdom of God. The method is given, but people are not following. So to surrender to Krishna, we must ultimately, to know Krishna, we must ultimately surrender him. To come out of this material world, eventually we must surrender to Krishna. Vishnu vina mrityum na taranti. There is no other way than surrender. So that is explained point by point in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. Two most important scriptures in Kali Yuga, Prabhupada said, is Bhagavad Gita and Srimad-Bhagavatam. These two are enough, but we read other books to get background knowledge and be able to answer other people and to strengthen our faith. But only two books can give enough knowledge to get liberation, Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. This is, so to get rid of material nature, we have to surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. In which verse? Daivi Esha Gunamai Mama Maya Duratyaya Mam Eva Ye Prapadyante Maya Metam Tarantite. This material energy of mind, which consists of the three modes of nature, it is actually one of my energies. Devi Esha Gunamai Mama Maya Duratyaya. It is my energy and it's very difficult to cross. Duratyaya. Mam eva ye prapadyante maya metam tarantite. But one who surrenders to me can easily cross over that ocean, because that energy is under Krishna. That energy is under Krishna. So simply we surrender to Krishna, that energy cannot touch us. Material energy. So an intelligent person will dedicate his life to coming to the point of remembering Krishna at every step. Prabhupada gave us how to do that, the method. One way is that we should be reading every day, read constantly. Other is that we are chanting 16 rounds, attending Mangalarti, that's important. Attend Mangalarti, read Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam and other books of Srila Prabhupada. Read Mangalarti, take Prasadam, so that the mind can always be filled with thoughts of Krishna. Read, therefore by reading, that subject matter is always in the mind. And by this way, we can come to a pure level where we can know God. We can know Krishna. Okay. Hare Krishna. Any questions?